Ask Earl Anything. This is the show where your questions make the show, and if I don't have a question, I don't have a show. And I haven't had many questions in the last couple weeks because beginning in March, I started to do Hanging with the Hammer live streams on Saturday mornings. And I've been pretty consistent with them, not varying the time too much. The first one being at 10 o'clock in the morning. This last week I did one at 9:30 because I had a hair appointment. And most of them are at 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings. And because of that, I've been getting most of my questions on the Hanging with the Hammer show and not on the Ask Earl show. But I did obtain a few questions I've been collecting through videos and saving up for today's show. If Hanging with the Hammer is the way I'm going, then probably what's going to happen is I'm probably going to do only one of these shows a month. I still want to do Ask Earl Anything. For those of you that love watching this aspect of the show, me just talking to the camera with specific questions for this show. When I'm doing the live stream, I find it a lot harder to kind of stay in the flow, and I feel like I need to keep the flow going to keep people on the live stream. So it's a fine balance. There's no live stream here, so whoever shows up because of the topic or just wants to watch Ask Earl Anything shows up. But I want to shout out to the people that have been on my live stream so far. And I've had a few guests, great guests actually. My first guest to my first live stream, which was very impromptu, using StreamYard, was Mike Fasano. Those of you that know Ask Earl Anything for a long time know Mike Fasano as a friend. And it was great to have him on, and it was extremely impromptu that day when I did it after work, and we had a lot of fun for a few minutes. I plan on bringing Mike Fasano back on the show again. Then the weekend I actually did Ask Earl Anything live before I was calling it Hanging with the Hammer, which came from my friend Chadwick Perry. He's the one who said, you should change the name just to make it different. And he was right, I think. And then I want to thank Drumman190 for making my little Hanging with the Hanger logo. He did that for me. He sent it to me. Hey, I was thinking of this, and here he sent it to me. So I want to thank Drumman190 for that. So Chadwick and Drumman190 both had something to do with the logo and the name. But that weekend I had Chadwick on and I had Tate Berkey on. And it was extremely impromptu. I shot them something before the show, and they both jumped on. It turned into a highly watch show. I had some good questions that I brought to a second piece after the show and a lot of fun with. My third guest was Kelly Kusumato, came and can drum. And Kelly and I talked about Carlos Vega, his uncle, among other things, for an hour and 45 minutes, and just had a blast hanging out and talking on the live stream. And I've been thinking about taking parts of it for the Carlos Vega piece and possibly doing something else, but I never got around to it. I've just been so busy with other things in life. So I want to shout out and thank Kelly. And now this weekend, I'm actually shooting Ask Earl Anything before the live stream on Friday night before Saturday. That's what's happening. I'm going to have Eric from the Drum Addicts going to be on for the live stream on Saturday. And this will come out the week after the live stream, so Eric will have already been on. So I want to thank Eric for being on the show. So lots of cool guests, lots of fun. Also, during that period of time, I started messing with my drum covers. Since the beginning of the year, I've been going to a lot more two-camera shoots. I've also been messing with green screen now, and I've been messing with shooting the camera up towards me from the floor. And I've just been generally having a lot of fun with the drum covers, doing whatever I want to do and having as much fun as possible. I've had a lot of good response on that. I plan on continuing to do the green screen stuff as much as I can when there's a good video that goes along with it. I've been stretching out some songs for some friends of mine, mostly Instagram friends and friends in the real world who watch me on Instagram mostly. And so I've been having a lot of fun with the video and putting out lots of videos, and don't know what to say. I'm just doing this for fun. That's all I do this for, is for fun. In the process of that, I've got a student. I've had some extra video work, voiceover work. I just did 2 songs this week, recording for my friend Danny Brunges, who is the worship leader at Providencia, and it's his solo album. So I did 2 songs for that, one playing brushes, one playing some groove stuff, and very exciting times. I'm doing a lot of different things. I'm also starting the project with my friend Leandro from Miami. He's coming down next Saturday, so I'll probably be moving my live stream to the following Sunday morning, probably at 9 a.m. That's probably what I will do. So it will be, it's an exciting time. I'm very busy, and I'm just having as much fun as I possibly can in the midst of all this COVID crap. You know what I mean? To be honest. So I'm just having fun, having a good time. I got a new edition of a 22-inch Paiste 2002 ride cymbal to go with the 18-inch Crash. I'm looking at some Sound Edge hi-hats. That's a possibility for next, but I don't know when that's going to come. Have had done some work, so you know I'm having lots of fun, doing lots of different things. So let's jump into the questions. The first question came off of one of a comment about green screen from Paco Drums. Check out Paco Drums. He does lots of great covers. Seems like he's a teacher too. He works a lot off of charts and things like that. He said, I see the green screen is also reflecting on your cymbals. The same thing happens to me. Is there a solution for these reflections? So when shooting the green screen, a lot of times in this room, I've been putting the green screen right across where the camera is right now. So I've been shooting from behind, and off the reflection of the lights, sometimes the green screen shows the video on my cymbals. So the interesting thing is, what I'm doing with the green screen is really stealing from Chadwick Perry. I got to be honest. Chadwick I've been watching his videos for about 6-8 months now. He's done a lot of green screen work, and he just throws it in to make it more eye appealing. We actually talked a little bit about this on Hanging with the Hammer that Saturday when he and Tate Berkey came on. And I like that approach versus setting it up behind me and having to get it perfect. So I don't do anything perfect with the green screen. I just bring it in. And one of my most popular Instagram videos, actually it is my most popular Instagram video because I normally don't get more than 100, maybe 200 views on my Instagram videos, if I'm lucky, is Aretha Franklin's Natural Woman. Incredible video. It was an incredible video of her singing with Pink and all colors and stuff. And it was a 1-camera shoot in my other room. And she's over here singing big, and I'm playing drums to it. And it was kind of a funky groove, a funky 12/8 groove. But I really think the eye candy of that video popped that video in the Instagram feed, and I got 1,300 views on it. And for Instagram, for me, that's a lot because I only have 500, maybe almost 600 600 followers on Instagram. I follow more than I have. So Instagram is really just a playground for me. And what I do with Instagram is I make quick videos off my iPad from the original videos I make on my Final Cut. So when I'm cutting videos at the end of the week, I just dump them on my iPad, and then I cut them up in iMovie into little clips and put them out on Instagram. And I'm having a lot of fun with that. But for me, that artsiness of it showing up on the cymbal doesn't bother me, Paco. So that's what I'm letting happen. And I'm definitely not going to be caring about if it gets a little weird. Because the weirder it gets, it's more eye-popping and eye-appealing, and that's the whole purpose of the green screen for me right now. All right, my second question comes from DW Drummer 904. He said, love the drumming, love the ride cymbal, and he asked me what kind of ride cymbal it was, and this was on the video Soul Liberation, which, by the way, came from Sean Woodley, who's my student, and I had to learn this song for him. It's a gospel song called Who Are You? And the cymbal I used on that, I got a lot of reaction to. So this is the cymbal. This is a Paiste Dark Energy Mach 1 prototype, meaning They had just come out with this line, and these were some of the prototypes used for developing the line. I think mine sounds pretty darn close to the way their cymbal does sound. The one with the big Paiste logo on it, that costs about $100 more than this one cost me. I got this for $237 at Forks Drum Closet in Nashville in 2006. By the way, this is what I call my Steve Gad cymbal. This has got that dry, dark thing happening, and I just love this cymbal sometimes. It's a 20-inch. I haven't been favoring the big cymbals lately, but every once in a while, this is the right cymbal for the job, and when it is, I pull it out. So this is the Dark Energy Mark I cymbal. So thanks for asking that question about the cymbal, though, and everybody that commented about it, too. My next question comes from Brian Curry, and Brian's now going by Brian Drums, and he said, what is the head on that big 8x14 snare drum you've been playing? I did a lot of covers with it recently. One was Kaji Gugu, Too Shy Shy, one was Adamant. I've been using it on different videos, and it's not your normal snare head. He's right about that. He said, is it a P77 Remo head? And the answer to that question is, no, it's not a P77. So what is this Mystery Drums head? And this is part of the Mystery Drums sound, by the way, is a flopping wallet that basically pops up off the drum occasionally. It's really loose, too, as you can see. It's really just sits there. Like, let's see if I hit it with a snick. See how it pops up? But this drum is a Falams 2 snare head, a marching snare head. Now you're saying, why would I go out and buy a marching snare head? Because I got it for $2. That's why. Brand new marching snare drum head. The music store in town, Chafin Music, a year ago, before COVID, before Christmas, before COVID. So it was 2019. I just happened to go over to the music store, and they had sold it to a company called Music and Arts, I think is what they're called. I haven't been there since, by the way. And they were clearing the shelves of all the old inventory. So I picked up a bunch of drum heads during that for $2, $3 each. But they were brand new heads. Some of them were those Chinese heads that you'd find on drums, Chinese Remo heads. Some of them were real Remo heads, like this Falams snare head, which is probably sold to schools for marching band. And I thought to myself, a 14-inch Falams I would never buy for $25 or whatever it costs, but I would buy for $2. So I bought it, and it's got the little dot. It's not really a brush-worthy head. It is a Falams head. So it's got that kind of synthetic, it's a synthetic head. But it's got a very funky sound, and when you put the wallet on it, it's just got that sound. So it's almost like a Simmons snare kind of thing. And if I put enough gate on it, gated reverb on it, enough reverb on it, it just gets huge. So this is a special drum that only gets used occasionally. I only use it for certain things I want to use it for. I never change the tuning. I never mess with it. Now, I used to have a 10x14 Yamaha marching snare drum, but I sold that to a friend who came to the studio a lot. My son-in-law's drummer in his band, and his name is Ian. And Ian wanted that drum, so I made a deal with Ian and sold that drum off. So this is my deep drum now. It's 8x14 brass shell Ludwig Black Magic. Worth the bucks. I paid $228 for this snare drum. I think they were going for like $400, but this was a B-stock drum from the music store I bought it from. Just like my cymbals have been B-stock cymbals. If you can get B-stock cymbals or B-stock drums, stuff they're trying to blow out of their store because they're buying new stuff, you can get some really good deals if you know what you're looking for. You just have to know what you're looking for, and that's the problem. Most people buying don't do that. I've been buying drums for 45 years, so trust me, I know the difference. So I did that. All right, so Falams 2 head with the dot. My next question comes from Adam A.R. Drummer, who was my only question for a month. So thank you, Adam, for loving Ask Earl Anything enough to ask questions. This question came up in my live stream last week, I think, but I'm going to answer it again. What do you think is the best entry-level drum kit, regardless of era? Now, that makes it a little different than the question in the live stream. The best entry-level drum kit, regardless of era for me, is this drum kit. It is the 1980s Yamaha Stage, not Stage Custom, Stage Series drums. They were completely Philippine mahogany. They were about $400 for a really nice set of drums. And they've kept their value because you can sometimes find them for anywhere between $400 and $800 today. And you rarely find them. They've got the lugs like that marching snare drum had on it. Matter of fact, when I bought the marching snare drum, I wanted to know if it was mahogany or maple because I think it was a mahogany drum too, by the way. But my brother had a set of those drums. He had an 8, 10, 12, 13, 16, 22. All regular 8x12, 9x13, 8x10, 8x8, those sizes. Or maybe it was a 7x8. I mean, it was very cool little, the 10 and 12, I mean, the 8 and 10 toms were really cool looking. He got those extra. But those drums were my favorite from any era, I would say. They were just great beginner drums that sound professional. I saw a kit in 2017 at that music store where I bought the Falams head before they went out of business and sold it. And they had it was their kit that they would loaner kit, and they were selling it. They were selling it for $400. I should have bought it. It had a 20-inch kick drum, 20, 12, 13, 14, and I should have bought that kit because that kit was one of my favorites. I had it for a short season when my brother stopped playing drums, and to this day I kick myself for getting rid of that one. So that was my favorite entry-level kit. Now, of the entry-level kits today, I love to get Gretsch Catalina, again a mahogany kit. When you talk about the Japanese stencil kits that everybody's looking for today under the sun, the ones that were made in the 60s and 70s, those are mahogany drums, Luan wood. Luan is a form of mahogany. So everybody's looking for that fat mahogany sound. Why there's not a drum manufacturer making mahogany drums, consistently making mahogany drums, I don't know. Pearl had a line of mahogany drums about 20 years ago that I played in a store one day, and I said, if I could afford these drums, I would buy them today. They sounded that fat mahogany sound. There's something about the sound of mahogany that is fatter than any other sound. Everybody makes maple. Not everybody makes maple great. Okay? Gretsch makes maple gumwood shells. That's their magic shell. Gumwood, die-cast hoops, silver sealer. I love that maple sound. It cuts. It's a beautiful sound. I have a set of those drums. Love them. I've got a set of fiberglass drums. If I need to buy another set of drums, I'd like to get a set of mahogany. I had a set of mahogany 3-ply Ludwig club date kit from the early 60s. To this day, that's one of my regrets is getting rid of that kit and the Yamaha kit. So there's 2 regrets in one day. By the way, the club date kits from the 60s was another great buy for an entry-level kit. Why were they club date? They had a single lug in the middle. Why were they cheaper? Because they had less lugs on them. So Ludwig lowered the price. Why were they great? Because they were the same shells as all the other Ludwig drums. Ludwig only got shells from one place. They made their own shells. So every Ludwig drum made in 1963, it be a club date or a classic Ludwig kit made in the USA, those drums were all the same shells. Now, there was a difference in the Ludwig standards, which I believe were coming from somewhere else. Probably, most likely, Japan at that time. But, again, mahogany drums. I love the sound of mahogany. Now, are there other great entry-level kits? Heck yeah. You've got the DW Flexi Flyer. You've got, which my friend Blake has a kit. He just bought one. Check out his video on the Flexi Flyer. Peter Erskine was the one who created the Flexi Flyer for DW. Apparently he didn't like it enough to basically stay at DW, because the next year he was with Tama, by the way. And then he built the Flexi Flyer type kit for Tama in the Imperial Star line with a Duco finish. It's come out in the last year, and you see it on his videos during COVID. He loves the little 12 by 20 bass drum, that little shallower bass drum. By the way, Ludwig was making 12 by 20s and 12 by 18s back in the 60s and 70s even for their jazzette kits. So, I mean, that's an interesting size. My favorite size bass drum is 14 by 20 or 14 by 18 or 14 by 22. 14 by anything. I don't think it's too deep, but it's not too shallow. It's very punchy. Gretsch bass drums especially sound great. My 18, my 20, and my 22 are all Gretsch. They kill. Nobody ever complains about my bass drum sound, ever. And it's because it's that great Gretsch sound. But what other entry-level kits? I mean, I remember when Tama had the Birch kit, the Silver Star line. I thought they were great. I'm not a big fan of their Imperial Star remake. Not a fan of that at all, to be honest. I don't think the shells are all that cool, whatever they did to it. But the Silver Stars were Birch. They were Birch, almost like the Recording Custom Birch, so it was a very different sound. I think when I talk about drum kits that I want to have, I'm looking for something different than what I do have, except for when I talk about the Tama Star Classics. And even the Star Classics, I could get a walnut kit. That would be extremely different from Maple and the Gretsch kit. But I think the Tama Star Classics have a certain great sound. My other favorite drum kit of all time is Yamaha Recording Custom, which is a Birch kit. But again, I don't have $2,000 or $3,000 to buy one. I wouldn't buy a new one anyhow. I would rather buy a used one, an old one. I'd rather buy one from the 1980s. So I am one of those guys that likes the older stuff because they sounded a certain way. So anyhow, Adam, I hope I answered that question. Now I got one more question for Ask Earl Anything. And this one comes from my friend Michael Perry. And Michael Perry got me on the last Ask Earl Anything. He just asked us a couple days ago. He said, Earl, I know you briefly talked about why you prefer acoustic drums over E-drums. And I know you're very fortunate to be able to have a place that you can play acoustic drums without issues, but many people don't have that luxury. I happen to be blessed to have both. While I prefer acoustic drums, I actually like E-drums too. My question to you is this. I want you to be honest. Would you ever consider buying and playing E-drums? If not, explain the depth of why you feel acoustic drums are the only way for you. Is it the feel, the sound? Are acoustic drums easier to play? Things of that nature. I apologize for the length of the discussion and the question, but hey, it's a good question, Michael. No need to apologize for a great question. So what you're asking me is, would I ever play electronic drums? And that question goes all the way back to, of course, I have a SPD-SX pad right here. I look at electronic drums as being an effect, and that's my biggest problem with electronic drums. Do I like electronic drums? I do. But I like the effect aspect of it. I was a big fan of the Simmons drums when they came out in the 80s, and I wanted a kit desperately. And I would love to find somebody dumping a Simmons kit for dirt money and buy it. Just an old Simmons kit that actually worked. Could be an SDS9, it could be an SDS8. It can be even those Simmons add-on pads that had the original Simmons sound, kind of, or the SDS5 or 7 even. But that was because it had a certain sound. When electronic drums became a substitute for acoustic drums, and I had to play them in churches, I didn't like them. And I've played the Roland V drums for 20-something years. I've been playing them. And I've had friends that have had the Cat drums and all different versions of electronic drums. I mean, I had a D4 at one point in time and some pads. I used an Octapad for a while. I had a set of Tama pads. I wish I hadn't gotten rid of the Tama pads. They were actually pretty cool, and I wish I never got rid of those modules. I think I tossed the modules for some reason. Because after I got the SPD-SX, I could have sampled all that, and that would have been kind of fun to do. And they had those Simmons-y kind of syndrome kind of sounds. But E-drums, to me, are an effect. I look at them as an effect. So I have a hard time looking at them as being my drum kit with a cymbal and being what I would want to play. But I am preparing in my heart for the day I do sell this house and I do move into a smaller place with my wife, one that we can manage as we get older. And I will probably buy some kind of an E-drum kit that will feel as close to an acoustic kit as possible, with cymbals that are as close to acoustic cymbals as possible, but will be electronic and quiet. I just don't want to spend that kind of money now while I have a real studio to play in. So I look for that. I don't know if I'll be in the drum cover business at that point in time either at that point. I think when I get to that age where I'm selling this house and I'm not living here anymore in this studio, it may be the time I'm actually hanging up my playing. Unless I've retired and I'm playing in with a group of guys and blah, blah, blah. But I may be retiring from playing drum covers at that point. That's why I'm getting the most out of every day I play drum covers now and having the most fun with it. Because having fun and enjoying life while you're able to do things is what you want to do for as long as you can. Because you never know how long you will have in life. And that is something I'm well aware of since my son passed away. So I try to live each day to the fullest and have as much fun as I possibly can. And for me, fun is playing lots of different music, lots of different styles, being as creative as I possibly can, being as artistic as I possibly can, and doing as many artsy things as I possibly can. So I do as many artsy things in my day job as I can. I do as many artsy things with my friends and family as I can. I do as much artsy stuff as I can do on YouTube. And I utilize the things I have. And I've amassed 45 years of drums. So right now, selling that off to get the perfect electronic drum kit for this year that I don't even want to play electronic drums makes no sense to me. Someday it will. And when I do, I know I will have to sell some things to do that. Probably it'll be cymbals and snare drums. Most likely, certain things will go to my grandkids. So one day my grandkids will see this video maybe. And when they do, they'll know that Poppy was thinking about, giving this set of cymbals to Asher and this set of cymbals to Elliot and this set of cymbals to Jace and this set of cymbals and drums to Trey or Rosalind or Ansley or even Maddie if she wants to, or Ryan if he wants to, or Ethan or Aaron if they wanted to. Okay? Whoever of my grandkids shows the interest in being a drummer will have access to some of my equipment. I named the early ones, though, the ones that are really hammering it right now, being Asher and on the first. My grandson Asher is right at the top of the list right now. But Elliot's right behind him, and he's 3. So it's just a matter of time for he's banging out beats like Asher is. And they're going to be the recipient of most of my drum gear. But at one point, I will sell my drum gear off. I will buy electronic drums, the hippest electronic drums of the day. They'll probably look like real drums. They will have the hippest electronic cymbals of the day. And I will play them and have fun with them at home. And they will keep me quiet and I'll be fine with it. But right now, for what I do, I have the world of acoustic drums. Now, is electronic drums easier or harder to play? I think for me they would be harder because I have a touch on acoustic drums. And I don't think you develop a touch on cymbals and toms and snares and hi-hats that really is a unique touch. You can get so many different sounds out of a drum and out of a cymbal. I don't think it translates to electronic drums. I think you get kind of a 5-level effect on electronic drums, unfortunately. And I've been saying that now for as long as I've been talking on camera, and I've been saying it as long as electronic drums have been out. You really don't have the dynamic range of an acoustic drum kit. And if you're a real player that loves playing and getting dynamics out of the drums like I do, then that's the biggest loss of playing electronic drums from playing acoustic drums. Acoustic drums have more dynamic range. Electronic drums are an effect. Acoustic drums got more dynamic range. If all I'm doing is trying to make today's pop music, you need some electronics. I get it. And there are guys that do it really well. If you want to watch a guy play electronics with acoustic drums really well, watch Chadwick Perry. He's got a sample pad. He's using it all the time. He's excellent. Excellent. Then he throws up some Simmons pads for that effect too, which is really kind of cool. But E-drums don't rock my boat, unfortunately. Don't float my boat. So I don't see me buying them until I have to. And when I have to, it'll be when I'm moving from this place into a place I have to downsize. Maybe I'll take one of my acoustic kits and put E-drum triggers on them or something, and that way I'll have mesh heads and blah, 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 you know. But what a waste of a great Gretsch drum to do that. I'd rather give the kit to my grandkids, you know, let them play the heck out of it. Anyhow, didn't mean to get all Debbie Downer at the end, but truthfully, going to electronic drums is the last resort for me. So, and that's it. So that's Ask Earl Anything for the month of April. I hope to have a show in the month of May. Your questions make the show. If I don't have questions, I don't have a show. Please hang out with me with Hang In With the Hammer. Look for my premieres. I usually put them out at least a day ahead of time, maybe sooner now. This week I did better. And please hang out, ask questions there. But ask questions for this show if you like this show. And thank you for watching my videos and supporting me. And have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.